Welcome into the bunker of General Gridiron, Field Marshal of football forecasting. We're about to map out the way this college football weekend is gonna go. Will your favorite team be marching to victory, or will the enemy be taking your battle flag? Holy cow, the Chicago Cubs won the World Series. So, what's that got to do with the much better sport known as college football? Here's looking at you, still undefeated Western Michigan Broncos. If the Cubbies can do it, perhaps there's a chance for you this magical year. So, grab your helmet and man those battle stations. We're ready for another round of General Gridiron's football foretelling. Georgia at Kentucky. The once fierce pups from Athens are coming off a newspaper beating from the Gators. But the sweet relief of a game against Kentucky is just what the doctor ordered for the rather severe case of winning dysfunction that has fallen upon the Nick Chubb-led Canines. But wait, Kentucky isn't that bad. The 5-3 Kitties are purring about a win over bumbling Mizzou, and old Georgia knows these Lexington boys ain't gonna be catnapping this week. The Dogs get a steady dose of Kentucky catnip. The Generals victor, Kentucky. Oklahoma State at Kansas State. What is a Big 12? Well, nobody knows. The league doesn't have an undefeated team, and everyone seems to be able to beat everybody else on a weekly basis, and yet they still play the games. Mike Gundy's newly matured mullet will be prowling the sidelines of Bill Snyder Family Stadium, but the doctor of fundamentals will not be fazed. K-State fields no QB, no real running back, but they do have a bunch of lunch pail types, and the nondescript Wildcats from Aggieville play very well at home. Pistol Pete will be firing, but the rounds will run out. The Generals victor, K-State. Georgia Tech at North Carolina. The Ramblin' Wreck wobbles into Chapel Hill, and the number 18 Tar Heels have Ramesses' horns sharpened and ready to ram the fenders. The Atlanta-flavored triple option is a formidable foe, as long as the Coca-Cola Yellow Jackets don't get behind. It just so happens the Swing State Feet mascots can put up some points. Mitch Trubisky has been superb, and look for that trend to continue early and often at Kenan Stadium. The Wreck can roll, but not if it won't start. The Generals victor, North Carolina. Vanderbilt at Auburn. Auburn, that offenseless, struggling, Gus Malzahn hot seat group of misfit other team in Alabama, right? Well, not so fast, my friend, as Corso would say. The Tigers from the Plains have righted the ship, and they've clawed their way to number 11 in the polls. These aren't the Jungle Beasts from the first 3 weeks of the season, and they're rounding into form at the right time. And a game against struggling Vandy can't hurt. Commodore Cornelius's frigate gets stranded on an East Alabama dirt road. The Generals victor, Auburn. Texas at Texas Tech. The Charlie Strong Farewell Tour rolls into Lubbock to take on the nation's leading offensive player in Patrick Mahomes, who leads the nation's second-best offense. Texas Tech hasn't beaten the Longhorns since, 2015, but that was in Austin. The Stronghorns are coming off a win against the undefeated Baylor Bears, but the secondary remains porous. Meanwhile, the best quarterback in the country is having his arms shot up like Lance Harbor in the West Canaan locker room on a weekly basis. Mahomes is something to see, but the Tech defense is as stout as air. The Hook'ems fight and roll. The Generals victor, Texas. Whether you're with her or you want to make America great again, one thing we can all agree on: the best vote to cast is for your favorite football team. Because win or lose, nothing's going to get you to pull for that rival team, right? So, in the spirit of election 2016, stick around through the break to see who the General will be pulling the lever for. Alabama or LSU? Or will Nebraska pull off a November surprise against the Buckeyes? Don't go anywhere. General Gridiron will be right back.
Because you want more flavor, at Newk's we marinate and grill to perfection. Because you want the latest culinary tastes and trends, we never rest. At Newk's, great food drives us. So we are meticulous in our preparation, obsessed with the quality of our ingredients, and uncompromising about serving you our very best. We believe that sharing a memorable meal is one of life's ultimate pleasures. Join us at Newk's Eatery.
Howdy, soldiers. This is General Gridiron back with you. Each week, this fabulous football forecast is heard on some of the finest radio stations all over the region where college football reigns supreme, including Scotty Mack in the morning and the Ticket Sports Network on the white sandy beaches of Destin, Fort Walton Beach, Pensacola, and Panama City, Florida. 100.3 FM, 93.5 FM, and 97.1 FM. And the River, KFYN FM 104.3 in Paris, Texas. We appreciate all of our radio affiliates. Now, let's get back into the football fight. Florida at Arkansas. The Pigs have been fat and happy at times, and they've been baking at other times. Coming off a whole hog barbecue on the plains of Auburn, the Plodding Swine are looking to desperately stay in the SEC West race. But the Swamp Lizards have been solid of late, and their number 10 ranking says those old jaws still have power to spare. Gators like pork belly a lot. The Generals victor? Florida. Air Force at Army. Two service academies meet in historic West Point, New York. While neither the airmen nor the cadets have set their respected football worlds ablaze this season, both have been respectable on the gridiron of battle. The pilots field a jet-fast offense, while the soldiers bring a balanced fighting force to the field. Look for the speedy Air Force aces to overpower the land-based attack squad. America wins, but Air Force scores more. The Generals victor? Nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. Alabama at LSU. The chatter in the SEC is, who can stop Bama? And in a fairly lackluster SEC West, it seems like that answer might be, well, nobody. This week, the clear-cut number 1 team on the planet travels south to Red Stick to take on the clothing-optional Fighting Bayou Orgerons. After taking the reins mid-season, the head Cajun immediately benched 5-star bad player Brandon Harris, and his offense has been the better for it. The Bengals are improved, but Alabama is a marauding horde. The Generals victor? The Tide rolls. Nebraska at Ohio State. The Huskers have celebrated the return of the black shirts as the corn harvesting bug eaters from Lincoln have finally made their historic presence known to the Big Ten. But Big Red hit a deep turn row in the form of the Wisconsin Badgers last week, suffering their first loss. On the other side of the pasture, the Buckeyes have gone from seemingly bulletproof to vulnerable in the span of 2 weeks. Brutus has struggled, but Herbie Husker ain't real enough to win at the Horseshoe. Yet. The Generals victor? Ohio State. TCU at Baylor. The once mid-major darlings of the Mountain West and the short-lived heroes of the Big 12 are now hopping mad at 4-4. Speaking of hopping, the jump-around masked Baylor Bears are coming off a loss to the hapless Horns. This battle of private school fan bases is sure to draw upwards of 30,000 spectators in Waco, despite the attendance-crushing backlash of a single loss for the Syntex Care Bears. Baylor will have the better quarterback, and TCU can't stop molasses flowing uphill in November. The Generals victor? Baylor. We've already looked at this weekend's heart-pounding matchups, but hang on to your helmet. There's more of the show right ahead. We'll be back in a jiffy to wrap up this week's General Gridiron with our rapid-fire picks. This is General Gridiron back with you. We've already maneuvered through this Week 10 lineup of frontline college football showdowns. Now it's time to fix your bayonet and storm the field with our rapid-fire football forecast. Michigan mauls Maryland. Florida State outlasts NC State. USC overpowers Oregon. Tennessee slings Tennessee Tech back to Cookeville. Wisconsin nips Northwestern. The Citadel takes the SoCon title against Samford. West Virginia fast breaks Kansas. Texas A&M torpedoes Mississippi State. Washington licks California. Virginia vexes Wake Forest. Ole Miss outparties Georgia Southern. BYU continues Cincinnati's misery. South Carolina rides its Bentley over Missouri. Clemson destroys Syracuse. Alabama A&M gets the win against Grambling. Virginia Tech trashes Duke. Washington State beats Arizona. Navy drops anchor on Notre Dame. Louisville bites Boston College. And Miami rebounds against Pittsburgh. Well, troops, you can now put your swords back in their scabbards. We're all out of picks on this week's edition of General Gridiron. We'll be back again next week, same General Gridiron time, same General Gridiron station. So don't forget to tune us in on the radio, Facebook, and on YouTube TV. And don't forget to tell your friends all about the show. Simply search for General Gridiron. This is John Rawl, the General of Gridiron Glory, thanking you for letting me be a part of your weekend. And don't forget to vote on Tuesday. This show was written by Matt Heermans. General Gridiron is a production of CRM Sports. For more, log on to crmsports.com.